Hey, how is everyone doing today? Okay, let's.
I thought you were gonna say hey, this is Liam and this is Kiki. I didn't know.
Oh, this is episode 4. So,
Well, I always start off with a hello because that's. You know what? We're keeping it. I'm not gonna have any awkwardness, so we're just keeping this as it is. Jerks. So, we have a guest today. We have our friend Kiki, who will be joining us in our conversations. And so, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Just sipping on some fruit smoothie.
Oh, nice. Although it's not Surge, but so yeah. So I like to go ahead and just throw it out there. What are you guys playing right now?
Well, I just stopped playing Aliens Isolation or whatever. I got pretty frustrated with it.
Yeah, I've heard that game is pretty hard because the enemies in the game are pretty unpredictable.
I was hitting the enemies with like the hammer weapon thing that you get, and I was smacking the hell out of this lady, and Liam was sitting right next to me, and they were not going down. Like, I probably whacked her like 20 times, and I ended up just getting killed, and I was like, okay. And it's super glitchy, by the way, so hopefully they patch that up.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Now, how about you, brother? Have you been playing any new games?
Not really. I'm still playing Ultimax, of course, because it's Persona, but I kind of don't want to start up anything new just because Borderlands is on Tuesday.
Yes.
And with how much I get into those games, it's like, I know if I start up something else, I'll just end up putting it down and playing Borderlands instead.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Although I have to admit that I unfortunately will not be picking it up immediately. I'm probably going to give it a couple months before I pick it up. Right now, I'm actually playing the PlayStation Plus freebie game, Dust and Elysian Tale.
The furry game.
Yes, the furry game. I gotta say, man, like, I had no idea, nothing about this game going into it. And I have probably put in about 3 or 4 hours. And I tell you what, dude, this game is pretty sick. Like, the backgrounds on it are all painted. So, it's a beautiful game. Beautiful.
So it's like Child of Light.
In a lot of ways. Although I felt that from what I had seen for Child of Light, this is probably a little bit more colorful.
Right.
It's a side scroller. It has the RPG aspects, like you level up and whatnot, and you can equip different pieces of gear. But it's a side scroller, and the controls are pretty simple. You have your exit jumps and basic attacks, and you have some combos and stuff, and it has all voice acting, all of its voice acting, and dude, I'm about a quarter way through the game so far, and I have nothing to complain about except for I did have at one point I did this crazy tornado attack thing, and I was all over the place on the screen and explosions and all this crap, and the game ended up shutting down on me. So I think that because it was actually originally it was a game, I believe, on Steam, and they ported it to the PS4. So a couple little bugs, but I think it's worth checking out. It's so far been pretty enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, every once in a while, those indie games are pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And with the disappointment, and I am taking a shot in the dark, a chance actually, I should say, on saying this. I actually returned because I would be playing Destiny, but I decided that I was just not into the game. After about 20 hours of play time in it, it just wasn't keeping me. And I tried so hard to like it, but I couldn't. So I actually returned it.
Yeah.
And I put money down for the new WWE 2K15. It's funny because my girlfriend is so excited to play this game. Like she's already told me like, oh, we're getting all of the DLC and we're gonna play it and I'm gonna be Sheamus and I'm gonna kick your Bo Dallas ass.
Isn't it kind of amazing that like it doesn't seem like it was that long ago when she was kind of like new to the whole wrestling thing practically?
Oh yeah, no, and now it's like we watch it every week, Monday and Friday, and we have gone and we saw WWE when it came to town, and we're actually going to be going again here in about 2 months.
Nice.
Again to see SmackDown is actually coming to Grand Rapids, so
Nice.
yeah. And with having the roster already being kind of they show like the main people. We have like Dean Ambrose and stuff coming, so we're like, oh man, this is gonna be sick. But yeah, so in lieu of talking with disappointment, I kind of wanted to kind of start the show off with that specifically. You know, as said, I was just terribly let down by Destiny. I felt that the game was kind of half completed, and that's kind of the reason why I did take it back. It just wasn't holding on. And so I kind of wanted to ask you guys, what games have you picked up in recent memory that you were extremely excited for, and after giving it a little bit of time, you just were not feeling it, just felt horribly let down?
Kiki's like looking over at Alien Isolation right now and
I
shaking
totally
his
am.
fist.
I totally am. I don't know. Can you see through the wall or something? Because I was totally just looking at the bookcase. With me, it would have to be Alien Isolation. I mean, the concept of it is amazing, but I believe that the game starts off way too slow. The enemies are just like, and I'm playing on normal, so it's not like I'm gonna go like, hey, it's on hard. Oh my god, I hate this game because it's hard. No.
IGN.
Exactly, but I'm playing on normal, and if I'm whacking an enemy more than freaking like 5 times and they're not going down, I don't know. And then there was a glitch and they were hugging each other and I couldn't move. I was going through the floor and I was getting stuck. It's really, really glitchy. I mean, the atmosphere, the lighting effects, the sound effects, everything is on point, but it's just all those glitches just take you out of that, you know, that feeling of, oh my god, there's this alien stalking me and these people are going crazy and whatnot. You just totally disconnect from that because of all those glitches. And yeah, so I put down the money for it, brand new, and I wish I could return it, but I'm just gonna have to stick it out, I guess, or see when GameStop has a trade-in deal thing going on and probably return it. So for me, it would have to be Alien.
That's disappointing, man, because I was really excited for that game. Just the idea that, you know, with the challenge being, you know, the aliens and the people on the ship are so unpredictable. For me, that's exciting because...
Actually, you know what would be cooler that you would probably agree on is change the theme to being like
Alien versus Predator.
No. Change it to Rapture in BioShock, and you're like one of the last humans that are still sane, and you're not like all going crazy from the plasmids, and you're trying to like hide and escape from all these plasmid like super addicted people, and everybody's going insane and trying to pick sides with Andrew Ryan and what's his face, Fontaine. And it's like you're like that one guy that's like trying to escape all of it, and everybody's going crazy, and there's war. I think that'd be kind of a fun game. Like instead of
light bulb.
that would be something I would play. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Like, instead of having aliens, you have splicers walking around, and since you're just a normal guy, who is trying to make his living down in Rapture, it's not like you can go head to toe with these guys. So it's like you have to like duck out and hide. All of a sudden you see a big daddy, and it's just like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah, that would actually be really sick. And, any excuse that we could have to go back to Rapture is good enough by me. I mean, it could be a whole game like Sim City, but you're in Rapture, and I'd be like, oh, here's my money. Just take it.
But it's like, you can you imagine, like, they sit there and they take, like, more of a horror type approach to the game, and it's like you're sitting there and you're trying to like walk around, all of a sudden you see like blood or drool just falling from the ceiling, and you look up and you got some spider slicer just like crawling around up there. It's like, oh hell no, I'm out, peace.
Actually, I felt that the game had a little bit of a horror aspect to it, especially the first one, man. Like, you have specifically BioShock 1, man. You get the plane crash, and you get to the lighthouse, and you go down, and you have no idea what's coming your way. And as soon as you go down, and then all of a sudden, you have that splicer that does appear, and you end up beating the shit out of him with the hammer, and it's like
a wrench. It was that wrench.
Oh yeah, it's a wrench. That's right. But I felt that the game did have a little bit of a fear aspect. I mean, yeah, it's not like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, but
it did. But I'm just saying that, like, from watching Alien Isolation, it could be on that level, like more emphasis on fear and everything else, like making it so your character is not able to sit there and run in with shotguns and being able to decimate everything.
That's true.
Yeah, this one you have to get like your flashlight requires batteries, so you have to find batteries.
Oh no.
You have to like, it's like you build your weapons and your first aid kits just like The Last of Us. But if you're like in the middle of creating something, the alien will automatically hear it and he will charge at you. So you have to find a dark like place where you can just do your stuff away from him. So I mean, it would be awesome if they did that with BioShock, with the BioShock universe. Because I mean, imagine like a big daddy just walking around, and then the little sister just finds you or something and screams like, "Hey, blah blah blah!" Then just like boom, one hit kill, and you really don't have any weapons or anything. That would make me like, holy, yeah, I need this game. Because then that would just be awesome. And just no music, just sound effects, like,
I know,
just metal effects, all that. That would make the atmosphere like so tense. That would be awesome.
Well, yeah, and having the Big Daddy steps, like just kind of a, having the shake on your controller, like the vibrating, you could have like a faint vibrate on your controller, like, oh, there's a Big Daddy near. That would be pretty sweet. And I mean, I guess for Alien, in defense, I mean, from what I've seen, and I'm sure you would have to agree considering you have played the game, where it obviously has issues with the playability and being kind of difficult, the game is fucking gorgeous.
Well, it's hard to sit there and say that it is when like the game constantly is glitching up.
Right.
You would have to have seen it, like literally these two guys were hugging, and it was just like, what the hell is going on? Because like the game was still playing. Like you hear a gunshot and they're still reacting as if everything is still going on. But when you were like looking at the characters, they're just standing there and hugging. They're supposed to be fighting each other, but it looks like they're hugging.
You know what? Why can't they get together instead of, make war, they make love? I mean, what's wrong? Jeez, you jerks.
I don't
No,
think the
it
aliens
is.
there would like that.
Yeah, no, it would be like, no, kill everything. So,
Jeez. So, what about you, Liam? Have you had any games that you've been playing or have touched that you were just kind of not feeling it?
I think that goes for like a lot of games. A lot of times what happens is I'll try a game based off of hype that might have gotten. So it's like I'll be curious as to how it plays out. Like I tried Mass Effect, and I mean it is kind of a cool idea, but I don't know. The great story that everybody kept on telling me existed in the game, I just wasn't seeing it. Maybe it's because I'd played through BioShock, and I'm used to that storyline as that's what's a really intense, good storyline. But when I was playing Mass Effect, it was like very generic, kind of meh combat, and then the RPG system, like the level ups and NPC chat sessions, it just didn't really feel like it was that good or great to me. I think part of the reason that the game was a letdown to me is because of the fact I have so many other game experiences, and when you have so many other game experiences and you compare it to this game, it's like, well, NPCs, the amount of NPCs that were in Final Fantasy VI and like the old JRPGs compared to this game, there's no real comparison. The older games win. There was no care, interest to know what was going on in the lives of NPCs in Mass Effect, or at least for me anyway. So it was just kind of like I'd put in about 20 hours in, which is an extreme amount of time for me to like give a game that I was kind of shaky on, but I just couldn't finish it, and I don't care to finish it.
And that was the exact same way I was feeling towards Destiny. I was a little over 3/4 through the game, and I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like, and so I mean, you completely understand that you want to like a game and you want to really get into it because we have a lot of friends that are very into that game. And
Right.
so you want to like it, but it's just not hitting you. You know, the same way that you see it touching other people.
I don't know if I want games touching me, but
Unless it's Tifa.
yeah.
Giggity.
There are a lot of games that I tried that's based off a lot of hype, and when a game is really hyped up, I think it does more harm than it does giving it any good. Because when a game is hyped up, you have a lot of expectations for this like perfect quality game. Like if somebody says, "Dude, this game is perfect," immediately right in your head you're thinking,
What's
are
a
we
perfect
talking-
game? Like Metal
Yeah.
Gear perfect, Final Fantasy VII perfect.
Yeah, like, to somebody that's obsessed with Final Fantasy IX, and they hear that, oh yeah, this RPG I just played, it's perfect. Somebody's gonna be like, so it's on level with Final Fantasy IX? And then you play it, and you have all these expectations of being equal to Final Fantasy IX, and then you're like severely let down. So, hype definitely can hurt a game. With Watch Dogs, there was so much hype and all this, like, all these people thought there was going to be so much more content to it, and then they play it, and it's like, dude, seriously, what the hell is this?
yeah, that was one that I also just played it, and I was like, you know what? No, and I just returned it. It was horrible, horrible, horrible.
What was
Nothing.
horrible about it?
I mean, it's an awesome concept, but the way that the controls were set up, and while you're trying to drive and you have to like activate all these things, like, oh, like I want to put the post up so I can stop the cops, and then like you have to click. Like first you have to like redirect the camera to it to highlight the object, and then push the button all while you're driving. It's too much. That's like
I think the concept of Watch Dogs was phenomenal. The idea, and it did look like a beautiful game, but I had that same thought, like, okay, well, you're supposed to be able to, change like the lights and do all this stuff with technology, in the game. And I'm like, well, if you're, doing just that, like driving a car and it's moving really fast, how are you going to be able to change everything, the entire environment, and also not crash and die or draw more attention to yourself?
Right, but
It was just complicated.
I think with like a lot of people, they want a lot of neat ideas put into a game, but they still want the game to be
Simple.
With one of the things that really drives me nuts with like new RPGs is when you're sitting there and you get into that first combat, and we all know how this plays out. You get into there and it's like, hey, let me teach you about the combat system. You're like, okay, here we go. And it's not like a simple matter of hit X to attack anymore. It's like, oh, you have to hit X to do this, to pull up this menu, and then you have to choose from these items. But then you can also go over to here, and these are runes, and this is magic, and this is jibber jabber jibby jibby. You're like, what is all this? Like, what happened to just simple like menus where it's just like attack, magic, item, run?
Well, I think part of that has to do with us playing games like Final Fantasy 6 and 7, where it is simple, and with 7 having the materia and being able to choose, like, oh, well, I can do this summon magic, there's it's not like there's a lot, but there's still enough options. But I get where you're coming from, and maybe that's what it is, that it's these developers that did play those games and they're like, oh, well, having more options is kind of nice. It gives you a different kind of playthrough. You have some people that might like using magic predominantly, and other people are like, I'm just gonna attack.
Well, what bothers me is like when you have so many different like menu items and options, and you can't remember them all. So it's like you're trying to play a game, and it's like, dude, all I want to do is just a simple attack, and it seems to take so much effort to remember how to do simple attacks or simple skill abilities. And then it's like, you level up, now you have to go through all these menus to figure out the skill system and how it relates to equipping items and using skills in combat. And it's just, I prefer my RPGs to be really simple and just kind of spelled out for me.
Well, especially if you are going to be doing the grind, like gaining levels or just trying to get money so you can buy new gear in a game. You don't want to dick around in menus. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to spend a couple hours just running circles and get into fights, and that would gain like 5 or 6 levels and get some dinero.
Right.
Uh-oh. I hear someone calling you.
Yeah, she's being kind of bratty. You're trying to feed her, and it's like, shut up, Mel's. And
Mel's is our other guest for this evening.
She's always a guest. She just kind of hangs out in the background.
She's agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
Mostly disagreeing with the idea that you think that she's full and that she, doesn't need food. She disagrees with that.
She's like, screw all your video games. Just spend that money and get me food.
Get me something better than Special Kitty. Now, kind of going on the opposite side of the, disappointment, I want to just ask, well, Kiki, is there any games that are coming out in the foreseeable future that you are extremely pumped for.
I can answer that one.
Go ahead, Liam.
Evil Within.
Yes. I
Yes.
am totally excited for that game. I have not, for the first time ever, I've not spoiled that game for myself. I don't know the character names. Well, I've heard them, but I don't remember them. I've just looked at the gameplay trailers because I really do want to know how the game does play, so I don't go in it and be like, oh, okay, well, what am I going to do in this game? But I've just been looking at the trailers they've been releasing. Other than that, I haven't gone on any Wikipedia pages. I haven't gone on any forums. Nothing. Like no screenshots other than the ones that they post. And I am extremely excited for that game. It's already been pre-ordered on my PS3. I'm gonna be getting it the digital download because I don't feel like walking to GameStop and just getting it after work. So I'm gonna end up, waking up at midnight and just playing the hell out of it.
Now, is there anything specific about that game that that draws you in? Something about it that you're just like, oh my god, I need to play this.
The enemy design, the design of the game and how the enemies look, and how it's very how would I say, like it's very like that whole Japanese horror, like the film, like the Japanese horror films. It has
Right.
that feel to it with the enemies, and also that they're giving you very limited ammo according to all the interviews that they've been releasing. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be screaming and being all tense and sweating from my hands, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it and just play it. I really hope it just doesn't disappoint, though. It hasn't been hyped like crazy, but I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like they've been putting a lot of work into it. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I would have to agree. At the little bit that I've seen of it, the screenshots, yeah, the game looks beautiful. And so I do look forward to getting to see some more info on it once it does come out. So,
Yeah.
Now, what about you, brother? Is there anything that, I mean, besides Borderlands, of course?
I'm trying to keep the future purchases down a little bit. I'm mostly just sticking to a series that I know I love a lot. So, other than Borderlands, there's Persona Q in November, and I'm trying to not look into too much videos or too much news for Persona Q or Borderlands, because all it takes is just like one like little scroll and all of a sudden somebody's like, oh yeah, guess what, this character dies, and you're just like, oh.
Yep. Unfortunately, and I know we've talked about this before, there are those dumbasses that spoil everything for everyone, and that's the reason why there's some things that I will not research online, and it sucks because I want to connect with other fans of, things like Doctor Who. There we go. Perfect one. Doctor Who, unfortunately, there was a script leak before this current season started, and so there was I can't remember exactly how much of it, but there was a considerable amount that was leaked, and there was these douchebags that were going on everything involving Doctor Who and just like, no spoiler, like, oh, this person dies, or this person's leaving the show, or this is what happens, and that shit pisses me off because there's some of us that do like that moment where you are shocked, and when you don't see stuff coming. And for me, the game that I, without a shadow of doubt, am excited for, even though we are so far away, is very, very easy. Metal Gear 5.
Right.
And I absolutely refuse to look up anything. I will not know any of the characters' names. I will not know anything about the storyline, because for me, playing a Metal Gear game, I like to go into it not knowing what's gonna, who's there, what's gonna happen, nothing. Because that's what makes those games that much cooler. Because Hideo Kojima just throws this crazy story at you, and there's sometimes where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna Metal Gear. The last one. You fight the beauties and the Beauty and the Beast, and you're like, I'm gonna kill this wench, and and then all of a sudden you find out their backstory, and you're like, this person I just killed went psycho because they saw their whole family slaughtered in front of them, and then their whole village, and they had to like bathe in their blood, and they, all over, it just, that's what makes Metal Gear games to me so amazing, though, is that if you don't know what's coming, you're going to be floored. So, I have over a year, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I try not to look up too much stuff with it. The story, like, with people giving away spoilers, that's one thing, but I do kind of like the surprise of some games. I'm trying not to look up the skill trees for the characters in Borderlands. At first, I was wanting to see what they were, but it's like, as time went by, it's like, I kind of want to be surprised and kind of see how each character plays with me using them, as opposed to like looking at a skill tree, because Borderlands is one of those games where it's like you can look at a skill tree and think this is what I want to use, but once
you won't know
try
until you're playing it.
Yeah, like Salvador is like, oh, he uses 2 guns, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Then you get it, and you're like, I can't really use his ability that well.
Now, with the little bit that you know about the game, I have to ask, just right offhand, who do you think you'll play as?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen the character designs, and it's kind of cool because I usually play as a female in Borderlands. It's just more, I like the feel of it. I feel more comfortable playing as the female. But I know there's the sheriff, and then there's Athena, or Althena, whatever her name was.
It doesn't matter. There's Claptrap.
Oh, I'll
Let's
use
just be honest. There's Claptrap. Finally.
Yeah, so I mean, I will use Claptrap, and I imagine like once other people, other friends are getting Borderlands, it's just going to be like 4 Claptraps all just scooting along, and it's like, oh god damn it.
Have you seen? There was a video I saw a couple days ago of actually like 4 people playing the game, and they're all playing as Claptrap, and it's just obnoxious. Especially when you start doing duels with one another.
When they started high-fiving each other, they're all high-fiving each other, and it was insane. It was insane.
Oh god, I can't wait just to do that. Just for that alone.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome, for sure. But,
well, what do you think are the chances of... I mean, because we know that this is a pre-sequel, obviously. Do you think we'll get to see more of probably the most prestigious character in the series? Butt Stallion.
Well, the story is supposed to take place while Handsome Jack is alive, and it's supposed to be before the events of 2. So there's going to be plenty of Handsome Jack in there. What kind of sucks is that right off the bat, you already know that Torg and Tina are not going to be in there because they're in 2. So,
right.
And they're on that planet. and this is supposed to be on the moon. So it's kind of a bummer to know that those two won't be there unless for some whatever reason they sit there and somehow write it in there, like Tina and her parents were there, then they took a rocket.
It could be a DLC of some sort.
Who knows?
You're gonna have Moxie there.
Moxie brings up kind of an interesting thing, because I was looking up her character design for the pre-sequel, and I came across a couple of art pages that were from Gearbox, and I was looking at her design, and it looks like there's a possibility that she might be a DLC character, because it showed her in like fairly normal like traveling clothes, but then it showed her with like a satchel or a bag to her side, like hanging on her hip, kind of like what Lilith and
the Sirens.
Yeah, the Sirens and Gage all had on them. You know, when you're playing as them, they had like the little lunchbox or the little book right next to them. That's what Moxie has. So it's kind of interesting, but it's like I don't want to get my hopes up. But I mean, if that does happen, you can definitely bet, regardless of how far I am with any of the other characters, I will stop and I will use Moxie.
Well, I feel like they would definitely be cashing in on that cow if they were to make her a character. I mean, we all know that most people are going to immediately be like, oh my god, Claptrap, yes, right away.
If you have familiar faces in there, it's definitely like, oh shit, you know, like I gotta play that. You know, it's the same with any other game out there.
Right.
If you had Dissidia and all of a sudden you had Sora and Riku and all of the other Kingdom Hearts characters, you know, the Kingdom Hearts fans would be like, I don't fucking care about the other character, Dissidia, I am going to play as these.
Yes, totally. I agree on that one.
Now, that's actually one that I'm kind of surprised, Kiki, that you haven't mentioned. Kingdom Hearts 3.
At this point, it's kind of like with Final Fantasy 15. The hype has kind of gone down. I understand the story and I've played every single game, but it's taken too long to get to the final game that it's just like I'm already like tired. Right. I'm like, okay, like I need this game to end. I need to know the ending. Like, it's just okay. We got Kingdom Hearts 1, and then we got Chain of Memories, and then after that, we're gonna get, you know, Kingdom Hearts 2, and then after that they went to 358 over 2 days, then they went to Chain of Memories, and then they went to Recoded, and then it's just like, okay, you guys are just giving us a bunch of just side stories. Yeah, like side stories, and you know, it's really neat to see like Roxas' point of view on like what was going on while Sora was in Castle Oblivion, but at this point I'm just exhausted. The story is it looks like a kid's game, but it is very complicated with this whole princesses of heart and light and dark, and it's just I need it to end. I need Sora to just finally just be put down and be like, okay, you're done.
Be put down. We're gonna euthanize you, Sora.
like he just needs to go. Like, he's starting to irritate me. He reminds me of I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Titus. His whole personality is whole happy-go-lucky, and it's just like no, you need to grow up, dude. Like, be more mature. Like Riku's personality is totally amazing, but Sora is just getting on my nerves at this point, especially after Dream Drop Distance. I completely hate Sora, even though he's tattooed on my arm. I hate him. I hate him.
And there is that possibility that with the third one that they really do push that envelope. But I see where you're coming from, because I'm right there with you. I played the first Kingdom Hearts and it floored the crap out of me, because I'm a longtime fan of Disney, and you know, I've loved Disney music specifically, but really got into Disney film. And so to have Disney and Square working together, that was just like a, for me, like, whoa, this is amazing. And so the first Kingdom Hearts was great. But then when I played Kingdom Hearts 2, it just got better, in my opinion. Like, I felt that the controls, the fights were much more intense. You had the combos, and you have Sora flying all over the place, and you got the double keyblade action going. Like, this is so sick. And then you had all those side things coming out, and it's like, okay, well, wow, seeing, like you said, Roxas, his point of view on everything was really neat, and I love the way that they did that. But they are spending a lot of time on the Kingdom Hearts 3, and I feel like if you're Square Enix, you are going to kind of cater and baby your series that I would think are bringing the most money in. You have Final Fantasy and you have Kingdom Hearts. Right offhand, I feel like those are probably their two biggest, things that bring the money in. So I'm kind of disappointed that after all these different summer conventions for gaming, we haven't really seen anything for Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm excited to play it, and I know I'll pick it up. That's not even a question. I'm gonna play it, and I'm probably gonna like it. But they are spending way too long on it.
I think that's part of the issue with that game is you got a lot of fans that are going to be all excited and hyped up for it, and it's like you can only carry that excitement for so long. You sit there and you say, oh yeah, a new X-Men movie, it's going to come out in 2017, and it's like, yeah, oh, okay, cool, I guess.
Well, and even that, you did something that Square has not done yet.
Given a date?
Something. Because those of us who do like the Kingdom Hearts series, we're waiting for something. Like, okay, even if Square Enix were to say, all right, guys, Kingdom Hearts 3, winter of 2015, right there, that tells me, okay, we have 1 year and it'll be out. The only thing that we know about the new Kingdom Hearts game is that they're using the new Unreal Engine on it. That's about the only thing.
There's two problems to all that, though. Number one, it's Square Enix that we're talking about, who also said that Final Fantasy 13 Versus was going to come out years ago, and that never did. And that's still in the process of being made. And it's just like, dude, that should have been out like before 13.2 was out.
Wasn't that supposed to be part of like the Fabula Nova Crystallis or something like that?
Yep.
Like those 3 games or something?
Ideally, 13. Well, Versus should have been out like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
it's been in development for 10 years. So.
It should have been out. It should have taken the place of Lightning Returns because that game was a big flop.
It should have been out by now. But here's the other thing: is that they have a trailer for Kingdom Hearts, which it does give fans a little bit something to look forward to. It's just that I think to sit there and expect fans to like be on this hype train for all of the rest of this year and likely all of next year, and all they're gonna have is maybe a couple of screenshots to get hyped about, and that's just predicting that it even comes out in 2016.
That's not enough for me. I mean, especially with all these new games coming out like Evil Within, and next year like we have Smash Brothers coming out. Like my hype is gonna go towards other games that are like right, near to like the end of the year and early next year. Resident Evil, the remaster, and then Resident Evil 2 Revelations coming out as well. I mean, my attention is going to go to other games, and I know I love Kingdom Hearts, but my focus is not going to be on that game. I'm not going to keep following it for the next 2 years. It's exhausting. It's just like, just get it out. Like, just give us something already.
You know what I always kind of look at it as, though? Because I could get very upset with Metal Gear. I'm looking at, it's over a year before we're looking at anything. And the game has been in production for a few years now. I guess the way I look at it is I like to surround myself with different game series, and I can kind of forget about it. Right now I'm playing these other games, and I know that there's a game that's being made, and I feel like I like to think anyways that extra time that they're using to make those games will make it a better quality game, like a beautiful story, better graphics, better music, all of that. And that's what I keep telling myself with Kingdom Hearts as well, that okay, no, they're gonna make it so it's an awesome game, because maybe there will be like 19 different Disney franchises or movies that we go into in this one. Like, there's gonna be so many of them, and it's gonna be graphically insane. I tell myself that. Unfortunately, a lot of times I get let down, but it's good to hold on to hope that maybe the wait will be worth it.
I'm on you on that one. So
I think for some of the Kingdom Hearts fans, they're gonna feel a bit intimidated because of the fact that you have these games. You have the first one, second one, and this third one is coming out. It's gonna practically be almost 10 years since the second one has came out, and they got all these extra side games that have different gameplay, different characters, and all this other side stuff. And it's like, well, it kind of sucks for somebody that wants the full story, but they don't have like all these systems to play it on.
Yeah, that's the part that does suck too. Like, you have, for all of the side stuff with the games, without going in, of course, getting the PS3, like 1.5 and then 2.5. You're looking at, you have to get a PSP, 3DS. Wasn't there one for Game Boy Advance?
yeah, but they remade it for PS2, which is Reaching of Memories.
Oh, that's right.
So I mean, they're doing all that with that's their way of helping you fans get into it by releasing the remixes, which I think is an awesome idea. It's all going to be on one console, which is the PS3. They are talking about releasing Dream Drop Distance in HD format, so people will not need to have the 3DS. They can also play it on the PS3. So I'm pretty excited about that. And supposedly there's going to be a secret movie in 2.5. So let's see what's gonna, maybe Birth by Sleep 2 point something? I don't know.
2.7.3. I actually would not be against the idea for them. It's bringing more money in, of course, but I wouldn't be against maybe them putting it all on one disc, like for PS4 maybe. Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, all the side stuff, and just on one for the PS4. I mean, I doubt they would, but I mean, hey, if they'll do it for Metal Gear Legacy, and then just some of those ones that like the 358, they made it so it was just a video, which I thought was awesome because I played the game itself originally. I did play the game, and I remember not liking I love the story, but I hated the game because of the missions that you would do. I'm like, it just doesn't feel, it's like they have this awesome story, and like, oh, well, that's not much of a video game. We got to do something. Oh, let's throw the shit in here. It was a great story. I loved that, but you gotta make it also fun for the game, for the gamer themselves.
Yeah, the whole mission based thing was that's what turned me off to it. But I mean, I pulled through because I wanted to know what was this, what Roxas had gone through and what was his backstory, and so I pulled through. But that game was just,
It
and
was
then on the
difficult.
yeah, oh no, but yeah, that game did make me cry at the ending. Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
yeah.
It was the story was amazing. So Nomura does do a good job with character development and all that, but I think he just goes overboard and tries to add more shit that doesn't need to be added into the story, and it's just gonna make it even more confusing to people.
As long as he keeps it like kind of on a clean level where it's understandable, then it's fine. But unfortunately, it's like you see the ending to like 13-2, where it's just like all of a sudden they're playing happy music despite what's going on. And you're like, dude, seriously, what the hell?
Like, guys, why are we playing happy music when Sarah just died? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's another one that made me cry.
Well, because you don't see it coming. Like,
No, you don't.
that was like I remember playing like, all right, well, yeah, this is cool. This is wait, what? Wait, what? Are you
Yeah,
fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and then Mog just starts going down, and the little thing on his little diamond starts shutting off, and you're just like, what's going on?
I think that was actually what disturbed me more than Sarah dying was when Mog died.
I was like, and I was just like, oh my god, okay, yeah, I'm done. This game just like totally just broke my heart. How can you kill a Moogle? You just killed a Moogle.
Like, I didn't even think that was a thing that you could do, but no, they did, and it just ripped your soul in half.
Yep. And Mog was an amazing character, a supporting character. Like, he was awesome. So, I mean,
I felt that 13-2 was probably actually the best of the three. I mean, and that goes with some debate. I mean, because I did actually, to a degree, enjoy 13, but oh man, Lightning Returns was just. I had a lot of hype for that, and so when I finally picked it up and popped it in, I'm like, yeah, here we go. Like, I'm gonna get the ending of this, and like, ugh.
Well,
Just-
there you go. You answered your own self for games that you were hyped about, but then let down by.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucked because, I was really excited to kind of, to get that conclusion, like what happens at the end of this, but I couldn't even do it, dude. Like, I started playing that game, and, it was kind of like playing Legend of Zelda. It's like, I hate being timed. Don't give me a fucking time that I have to beat this game in, because that drives me batshit nuts. Like,
Right.
that, like, I am the kind of person in a video game, I like to explore. I like to see this game in all of its glory. I want to see every nook and cranny. I'm an explorer like Dora, man. I want to take boots and go behind that waterfall and see all the shit behind it. But when you're telling me, yo, sucker, you don't have time for that. You gotta go save this little kid from getting trampled by something. And you're like, but I don't want to save that kid. Screw that kid. And they're like, no.
You know what happens at that point? That clock is suddenly swiper. You're like, swipe, no swiping. He's like,
Bitch, I don't care. And that's the thing that sucks, man. I just don't like those games that time you. I mean, as I think, was it Breath of Fire 5?
oh my god, I really want to play Breath of Fire again. Go on.
But oh yeah, Breath of Fire 3. Look, that one, man. Oh wow. But like, I think it was Breath of Fire 5. You had to beat the game in like this ridiculously low amount of time. Legend of Zelda. Oh god, I know I'm gonna get this
Majora's
wrong.
Mask.
It's Majora's Mask. There's another one. Like, you had to beat it, or you had to, reset the clock and stuff. And it's like, Yeah.
Dead Rising 2 was also like that. You would have X amount of time to sit there and save somebody or to free roam, but it was like, so you given me only like 10 minutes to go through this whole mall that's packed with zombies, and there's all these department stores I can go into, but I have 10 minutes and only 10 minutes to get from where I am at the beginning, go through like this whole like beginning area, which is probably about, you know, a couple minutes alone. Just wait for everything to go through. And then it's like you'll be sitting there and trying to run around, and all of a sudden, hey, help me, help me. You're like, no,
Fuck you. Go save yourself.
fuck you. I want to go to that toy store to see if I can make a cool weapon.
I want some yo-yos.
Exactly.
But yeah, I understand why they do that kind of stuff, but I am shocked that Square took that direction that they did with that game, because, you know, a lot of people were already feeling kind of about 13, like that whole trilogy, and so I think by adding a time limit to it, it was like, And I mean, to be honest, to this date, I still don't know what happens at the end of that series.
I couldn't even beat it because I remember I played it and I was just not in that like mindset to play that type of game.
No, you really have to be like, okay, no, I'm going to utilize this time. And so like Majora's Mask, I beat that. But it was difficult at the same time, because it's like, okay, you know, okay, gotta think about time, and I don't want to have to think about that crap.
Right.
I do want to know what happens at the end of 13, because of the fact that I put the time in on the first two, but, you know, I'm just not feeling it right now.
It's,
Right.
that game, I mean, the whole 13 trilogy, I gave the first Final Fantasy 13 a try. I got put off by it because it was so linear, no towns. It was just, I was like, oh no, and then I already had all these people saying that how horrible of a game it was and whatnot. And so I just didn't play it anymore. I went like, 2-3 years without like playing it at all or anything. And then out of nowhere, Liam starts going, it's so awesome, just give it a shot, blah, blah, blah. So I went and picked it up again. And I ended up just falling in love with it. Like, I got used to the battle system. I just got used to it. And Vanille and Fang were my favorite characters. And it turned out to be awesome. 13.2 was, like you said, a big improvement over the first one. Lightning Returns, I even went and got the collector's edition. I got the PS3 controller for it. I mean, I went all out for that one, and
Just for it to be a flop.
It was just a mess, especially with you can only go to these areas at this certain time, and it's just like, well, what if I want to go to it now? Well, you can't because the gate's closed, and you're just like, okay, well, I need to figure out what else I can do. And it's just, I had the strategy guide. The strategy guide itself is confusing. I was just like, screw this game, and to this day, I haven't beat it either. So,
Well, you know what sucks is that I was sitting there, I was talking to a coworker of mine about this, and I was like, you know what really bums me out is that you have some games out there like these new IPs and different types of games that come out, and it might have like the special limited edition that's over $100, and you being new to the game, you're just like, well, I don't know if I want to buy the special edition because I don't know if it's going to be something I really, really like, or if it's going to be something I really, really hate, you know? So it's like, you buy the standard edition and then you come home and it's like, dude, this game is my life now. And all of a sudden you were like punching yourself because you didn't get that $130 edition that comes with, you know, the art book, the soundtrack, the cool little figurine, and all the DLC and all the other cool stuff. But then on the flip side, you know, it's like you go off and you buy, for instance, the Lightning Returns special edition, in which, you know, the little watch thing, that's pretty cool. But let's say it didn't.
And even having the extra controller, I mean, it is an extra controller.
Well, no, he bought that separate.
Oh, that didn't come with it?
Nope.
Oh, I thought for some reason that came with it.
But like, picture yourself buying, let's say the Titanfall game, and you bought the limited edition. So right there, you spent like $200 on this game and the giant toy that came with it. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, this game is kind of boring, you know. And as much hype and excitement as that game got back before it was released, it's like now you never hear about it. I had completely forgot about it till the guy at work said that he had looked at it the other day. He thought about playing it, and he was like, nah.
You know, that's the thing that really kind of sucks nowadays is with going on Facebook and having like IGN and those different, you know, review sites. Like, there's so many games that they're just hype and hype and hype and hype and hype, and so many times than not, you get this game and it's just like, or you don't even get the game and you just see like, okay, no, this game is actually kind of crappy. And so that kind of takes us back, like with what you were saying about sometimes overhyping a game is actually just bad. You know, I find that even though some people bitch and complain about the PlayStation and like, oh, well, it's the indie station for, you know, I kind of like that fresh, you know, game experience, especially because sometimes you do get a surprise. You know, there's the games like, you know, Ticket to the Man I thought was amazing. Eventually I will be getting Octodad. And this Dust game is been fairly exciting for me, and I still play, you know, my other games, but you know, I'm still playing Diablo 3.
Right.
You know, after getting the platinum in that game again and putting probably 150 actually probably about 175 hours into the game already. I'm still excited every time I put that game in and like, all right, let's go kill some shit.
I just think it's kind of a bummer to sit there and there's games that you go off and you buy the standard edition and then it's like, oh wow, this game is really awesome, and then it's like, and I totally missed out on all the limited edition goodies because I wasn't sure. For me, I think one of the games that I really kicked myself over for not getting that was BioShock Infinite. I should have got the special edition, but you know, I admit with playing the first two and I saw the third one, it's like I still want it, but I don't know how I feel about it being up in the sky and what's up with this bird thing. It's like, where's the Big Daddy? Like, if it was a Big Daddy, I probably would have got it in a heartbeat. But, you know, I saw Songbird and I was just like, I probably won't even like that. He's not Big Daddy, so I probably won't even like him. And of course, then all of a sudden it's like you play the game, you're like, dude, that bird is awesome. And yeah, thereafter it's like the special edition is super jacked up in price on eBay, or you know, it's like $90 for it on eBay now, and it's like, dang it.
Yeah, and that's, oh, I completely see where you're coming from because yeah, that's not getting the, especially for me, I'm not so much a collector of the odds and ends. It would have to be a series that, like a big series for me to get the collectors. Like, I wouldn't go and just buy, just for an example, Kingdom Hearts 3, we'll say that comes out. I likely will not get a collector's edition of that.
Kiki will be all over that.
That's the only reason why I'll be getting a PS4, and I hope, because right now I'm really upset that Japan is getting all these editions for 2.5, and we're getting a pin. I am super upset at that. But if they somehow come out with like a limited edition like PS4 bundle and it has like Sora or a Keyblade on it or something like engraved
Like,
onto it,
That'd be sick.
I am totally gonna say, screw rent, I'm buying this shit. And I'm just gonna fucking
Damn you, landlord! Don't you see how epic this thing is?
and I will like push it in their face and be like, look how awesome it is. And, you know, but
I'm sure Josh has seen the Metal Gear Solid PS4, and
Absolutely.
he's probably like, damn it.
No, I mean, I of course do. Would I say no to it? You kidding me? If I could have it, that'd be sick. But you know what? I just love the fact that I have a PS4, and you know, if I could get like a big statue of Snake, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I'd put it up somewhere, and
there's tons of them, and you know, hint, hint, April, if you do listen to our podcast, excellent Christmas present.
Yeah, right.
Hint, hint.
you happen to be dating a guy that used to be called Metal Gear Josh when he would go into GameStop or Gaming Warehouse. I wish I was joking about that. They started calling me Metal Gear Josh because they're like, dude, you are the biggest fan of Metal Gear that we've ever seen. Except be like, oh yeah, let's talk about these characters that are not important, but they're important to me. You know, that's just one series that, you know, for me is right up there with, you know, Final Fantasy, and it's almost actually bigger to me. But it's not fair because Final Fantasy has, like, you know, tons and tons and tons of games, whereas Metal Gear it doesn't have as many.
Well, I think too, you also have to look at the fact that with Metal Gear, with it being the way it is, it's stuck to the storyline and its roots in a way, whereas Final Fantasy has just gone off and changed, and you know, you're at that point now where it's like, well, I still love you, but I think we'd be better as just friends.
Well, yeah, and for me, like, I kind of grew up with Solid Snake and, well, Snake in general, you know, so it's really kind of has a special place in my heart because those games are so well written, and he has a way of just not only connecting them, but just like really, especially when you played the Metal Gear 5.
But I think a lot of people can sit there and say the same thing, you know, that they're excited for new Resident Evil because they grew up with Resident Evil. They're excited for Smash Brothers or new Zelda, Kingdom Hearts. You know, this list can go on all night, but it's because of those games that are coming out, and it's like, dude, I grew up playing these games, and that's why I'm all excited for it, and I think that's cool and all. But yeah, it does.
Well, and we all have that like one series I think that you really, really connect with. I mean, I think that when we think of all the people that we are friends with and we have contact with, it's like you can almost take every person and like, okay, this person is known. Like, if I were to ever have a question about, I don't know, Legend of Zelda, I would go to Kate. Like,
definitely.
Like, you'd be an idiot to go to anyone else. I'd go to Kate. Or, you know, if I really had questions about Destiny, I would go to Bryant. You know, Final Fantasy, I'd go to you. You know, like, we all have our certain series, I think, that really, you know, it kind of defines us.
I'm working my way up to being that Final Fantasy / Persona / Borderlands guy, you know? Like, I think it's kind of cool that there are certain games that you identify with people with, you know. I definitely know exactly what you mean. It's pretty cool. I can go to the store and you're like looking at different games, and all of a sudden you'll see Metal Gear, and yeah, it's like, oh, there's Josh's game, and then Kingdom Hearts, there's Kiki's game.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's totally awesome, and I think that's like one of the coolest things with games is that um, it it can really give like a personality to somebody.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty. I mean, we all have our thing, like our games that we like, and I mean we all have obviously separate personalities from that, and things that we can think about. Like I would like to think that when someone thinks of me, they're gonna think, okay, well, if I have a question about, I don't know, music, or and when it comes to gaming, oh, this guy is like really into Metal Gear. This guy is really into Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was about to tell you because I just looked at the timer. I was like, oh, we're getting up there at an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, and well, we actually, whenever I do these recordings, we always talk a little bit beforehand before we actually start, and so like when I do all the editing and whatnot, it actually becomes. This will probably actually be closer to close to an hour.
Right.
So.
And the cool thing with tonight is obviously we had Kiki come on here. Hopefully we can get him on here again. But like beforehand, I had talked about what to cover for it, and I had said just wing it. And I had told Kiki the same thing because he was kind of skeptical to come on here because he was unsure about the first time being on here and not having a topic and whether or not he'd be able to climb in on this. But I figured with it being an open topic, it's not hard to sit there and rant about games. So I thought it went pretty well for it being that there was no solid topic and there was no like going in circles around that one topic.
Absolutely. And thank you, Kiki, for joining us. And we do hope to have more people come on and just talk. I mean, this is pretty simple. I mean, Kiki, after doing this one, was this all pretty straightforward for you?
Yeah, it's just like hanging out with your friends and just, hey, so what are you into? And just like talking. It's not that hard. It's pretty fun. Most
Right now,
definitely.
he's flipping off the computer. He's like, "Fuck you guys."
You guys are douchebags. It's conceited. All you think about is yourselves, and your shitty games, and you're such nerds. God, I'm such a nerd.
It's pretty fun. But I would most definitely would like to join in some other time whenever you guys have some other stuff that I have knowledge of. So
I think you can pretty much join in on anything because we don't really sit there and make it like too hard of topics to discuss on.
No, I mean, like last week we talked about Final Fantasy, and that's pretty easy to talk about. I mean, it's so easy, man. Like just even real quick looking at my gaming collection. Okay, boom. We could easily do a topic on, let's talk about games that covered the music genre. Guitar Hero, Rock Band, there's the Dance
Project
Dance
Diva
Revolution. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy. And that's the beauty of this, I mean, someday, and I'm sure we're going to be having thousands of listeners, and right now there's someone who's listening to us, this recording, and this is like 3 years from now, and they're like, oh man, well they only had a couple people then. These guys are like world famous. Oh.
Yeah, sure.
Because we're so interesting and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like, yeah, those guys are cool. I wish I was them. So, well, yeah, well, if anyone made it to the end of this podcast, congratulations again. You've officially won some extra points of awesome sauce. And so, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and close this up. And, hopefully, Kiki will join us again. And, by all means, I implore anyone and let us know if you want to come on and just kind of hang out and talk to us and join in the discussion. If you have any questions, anything you would like for us to openly talk about, we're open to anything. I mean, really, give us anything. We'll talk about it. That's cool. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, take care.
Over and out.